Millionaire Success Habits is a book that is designed to help you go from where you are now in life to where you want to be. It has simple but powerful tips you can implement into your daily routines. Honestly, at first, I wasn't too excited about reading this book. It would be full of motivational quotes and impractical advice that wouldn't help in real life. However, I was positively surprised by the amount of practical lessons I got from it. In this video, I will share 5 of those lessons with you. Lesson number 1. What do you really want? If you go outside right now and ask 5 people what they don't want, you will hear things such as, I hate my boss, I don't want to work with him, I don't enjoy my job, I don't like waking up early in the morning, I don't like classes at school, I don't want to work for someone else. While they are listing the things they don't want, suddenly stop them in the middle and say, okay, how about the things you want? What do you want? What you will notice is that they will get confused and start thinking. After a while, some people might say 1 or 2 things that they want, but not more. Why is that? Isn't it interesting that when we talk about the things we don't want, we have tons of things to say, but when it comes to what we want, most people have no idea. Do you know what this looks like? It's like you are saying, I'm in a sports car driving very fast, and I know for sure that I don't want to go to Florida, Arizona, or Texas. But I'm not sure where I actually do want to go. What happens then? You end up nowhere, out of gas, and unable to reach your destination because you only know where you don't want to go. What's crazy about today's society is that everybody is racing around with Ferrari brains, but no GPS on. If you don't have a vision and clarity on the destination you want to reach, you'll simply never get there. You can buy the most expensive Ferrari in the world and drive it as fast as you possibly can, but if you don't know where you're going, you'll get nowhere. Would you rather drive a Ferrari off a cliff at 200 miles an hour or drive a Toyota to a clear destination? All sounds pretty simple, right? Maybe you're saying, oh, is that the great lesson you have for me? Actually, yes it is. This is the first thing successful people do. They clearly define what they want and where they want to go. Their destination is crystal clear, and they don't waste energy on the things they don't want. But the majority of people do the opposite. And that is why when you ask them what they don't want, you get many answers. Our brain works in a very interesting way. You see and get whatever you focus on. If you focus on the things you don't want, guess what? You get the things you don't want. The things you want might be right in front of your nose, but you won't see them. A few days ago, I was at home preparing coffee. I opened the refrigerator to pick up some milk, but couldn't find any. I closed the refrigerator and decided to drink my coffee without milk. But then suddenly remembered that I actually bought milk the other day, so I must have it somewhere in the fridge. So I went back again and started to look for milk. But again, no luck. Almost stared at the refrigerator for 15 seconds and then was about to close the door and suddenly saw the milk. It was right there in front of my nose the whole time, but I couldn't see it. You know why? Because I always bought a brand of milk that was packaged in a blue color, but last time when I was shopping there was none left, so I picked up a different brand in a red package. And because of that, my brain was focused on finding the blue package and ignored the milk in the red package. It's the same in life. You see and get the things that you put your focus on. That's why it's important to focus on what you want. One important note here. When you're defining what you want, be as specific as possible. For example, if I ask what kind of girl you want to date, you might say, I want to date a girl who is educated and is 5 foot 4 inches tall. If you only give me these 2 criteria, then I might bring you a 72-year-old grandmother who is educated and is 5 foot 4 inches tall. Are you going to be fine with that? I'm sure not. So, be very specific to the smallest detail. And here's a little tip to help you. Imagine it's 1 year from today, and when looking back over the past year, you realize it was the best year of your life. What does that life look like to you? Get emotional and visualize specific details about what made it so amazing. More specifically, ask yourself the following questions. How much money are you making? How much money do you have saved away for your family's security? Who are you taking care of financially? Where do you work every day? Do you have a home office, or are you driving to a new location? Are you taking your existing company to the next level? Are you starting your own company? Are you evolving through the ranks at your job? Do you have a better relationship with your boss? Better yet, are you the boss? What do your relationships with your kids or family members look like? Lesson number 2. Find out where you are right now. Where are you? Where are you in your life right this second? What I don't mean is for you to answer literally. What I mean is, what situation or situations are you currently experiencing in your life? Don't lie. Maybe you're just getting out of college or going through college, and you're confused about your future. Maybe you're struggling with the feeling of having untapped potential. Maybe you're trying to find something that can improve your finances. Maybe you just want to start something new to change your life for the better. Before you go to your ideal destination, you need to know where you are. You need to know your starting point. Take a paper and pen or your phone and answer this question. Where am I in life? You can go beyond just your finances and write down where you are in the different areas of your life that matter most. Love, intimacy, health, your career, and your family. When you know where you are and where you want to go, you'll start having a filter that will allow you to say no to certain friends, say no to certain meetings, say no to certain opportunities, say no to certain emails. Lesson number 3. Power of knowing your why. Okay, by now you know where you are and where you want to go. Now I'm sure you're wondering how you can get there. What kind of tools or vehicles do you need to use? Well, your why, in other words, your reason to reach the destination, is the best vehicle you have. Your why is like a bulletproof car that will take you to your destination safely. I'll give you a tool how you can find your true why, but first, let me explain the power of knowing your why. Imagine I come to you and say, "Hey, I'm giving you $1,000. Would you pass from the top of this building to another building through the rope connecting them? Oh, by the way, I have to inform you that the other building is on fire." You'd look at it and say, well, it is a 20-story building, and the distance between the two buildings is around 325 feet. Plus, the building is on fire, so I'm not going to risk my life for $1,000, thank you, but I will pass. But now imagine your mother, daughter, or person you love the most in life is on top of that building and needs your help, and the only way to that building is through that rope. Would you now use it to pass to the building? I'm sure you would, because you have a loved one on the other side who needs your help. If you noticed, in both examples, it was the same rope, the same distance, the same building, but the only difference was your why. When you know your true why, nothing can stop you. When you know your true why, you don't say, "I'm tired today, so I won't go to the gym." You don't say, "I don't feel like working on this project today." You simply show up every time, no matter what. You probably have some type of goal you want to achieve. Maybe you want to earn $1 million or graduate from university. Whatever that goal is, let me ask you this. Why do you want to reach that goal? Why do you want to earn $1 million? You're most likely going to say that I want financial freedom, I never want to work for someone else, or I want to help my family. Now these are good whys, but they aren't strong. They come from your head and not from your heart and soul. These whys are not strong enough. Achieving financial freedom is not a strong why to pass through the storms you're going to face. Financial freedom is not going to push you out of your bed at 5 o'clock in the morning. You need to uncover your true why that is deep inside. To do that, here's an exercise called 7 Levels Deep. It's a very simple but immensely powerful exercise. You simply ask 7 times why you want to achieve a certain goal. Let me do a small demonstration. Let's say you want to earn $1 million. So I ask you, why do you want to earn $1 million? You would say, because I want to be financially free. Okay, why do you want to be financially free? You would answer, Because I never want to worry about money again. Okay. Why do you never want to worry about money? So you get the point. In this way, you will ask why 7 times. If you noticed, your answer from the previous why is your question to the next why. Keep in mind that it is not 5, it is not 9 whys, it's 7. Don't ask me why it's 7, because I don't know, but it works like magic. I have to warn you in advance that you might cry when you do this exercise or get very emotional. The first few answers will come from your head, and then when you reach the 6th and 7th why, your answers will flow out of your soul. You'll be surprised what you just said. You'll not be able to stop yourself, and words will just flow. Frankly, I was quite hesitant that it would work, but after I went through the exercise, I have only one word to describe this exercise, and that word is life-changing. Okay, to sum up the 3 lessons we've covered so far, we found where you are, where you want to go, and the importance of finding your why, and using it to go where you want to go. The following 2 lessons will give you more tools and tips to reach your destination. Lesson number 4. There are 2 wolves inside you. Always feed the right one. I once heard a fable about a woman who told her grandson a story about 2 wolves that live inside of us. They are enemies to each other and they are constantly battling to win. The grandma says that one of the wolves is jealous, negative, and envious. To that wolf, everything in the world is wrong and unpleasant. Then the grandma says to her grandson, but you also have a different powerful wolf that lives inside of you, who is very positive and capable of doing great things. This powerful wolf can take you to so many amazing places. The grandson looks at his grandmother and says, well, which wolf wins the battle at the end, Grandma? She replies, the one you feed, grandson. The one you feed. I love this story because it's so applicable to all of our lives. We all have the bad wolf or the villain living inside of us, but we also have a hero wolf just waiting to be released. I'll give you a few tips on how to feed the positive wolf. First tip, ignore your weaknesses, focus on your strengths. Your inner villain thrives when you focus your time and effort on things which you're not good at. No doubt throughout your life you were taught to work on your weaknesses. This may be the biggest lie we've ever been told. At the end of the day, all this does is rob you of your confidence. Since from a young age you've probably been told, you're not good at math, so go do more math. You're not good at history, go study more history. By focusing on your weaknesses, you end up feeling inferior subconsciously. For example, I'm a very bad cook. I don't know how I even survived living alone as a student. I was always told that I need to learn how to cook proper food. But to be honest, I feel like I'm losing time when I'm cooking. Plus I'm not good at it, which means I don't enjoy what I cook because it's not delicious. So to me, the idea of improving my cooking skill is really bad advice. Instead, I prefer focusing my time on doing what I'm good at, such as writing scripts for these videos or working on my other projects. I can easily hire a person who can visit my home once per week to cook delicious meals and store them in the fridge for the entire week. So why improve my cooking skills while someone else can do it cheaply and better than I do? The same thing applies to organizing things. I'm not very good at it. I'll live with it the rest of my life happily because I can always find a person who loves organizing and pay that person to do it for me. There are other things I'm good at, and focusing on them makes me happier, increases my confidence, and brings me much more income. I'm sure some people will say that hiring someone for such simple tasks is a waste of money, but to me it's just simple math. If I spend 1 hour to cook a meal, I might save $10, but if I spend the same 1 hour on my business, then I'd earn many times more. That is why I believe that you should not bother with weakness. Everyone is really good at something, and if you focus on that thing, it will increase your morale and confidence, which will positively impact other areas of your life. Second tip, don't take advice from people who have failed at what you're trying to achieve. You might respect your dad's opinions, but if he has divorced your mom and already married 3 times, then he's the wrong person to ask for advice about marriage and family life. Find someone who has been married 30 to 40 years happily. The cost of bad advice is really high. How many times have you had a business idea or some invention you wanted to implement, but you were told that it wouldn't work or you would lose money. I'm sure it happened at least once to you. The people who told you that were not necessarily evil. In their opinion, they're trying to protect you. But without realizing it, they were feeding the evil wolf. Third tip, go on a news diet. Bad news sells better than good news. That is why wherever you look, you always see news about war, sicknesses, etc. You don't just lose time watching the news, but after you watch it, its effects stay with you for quite a long time. You're basically giving food to the evil wolf by following the news. Finally, tip number 4. Be very selective with whom you spend your time with. There are 2 types of people around you: battery chargers and battery drainers. Battery drainers will suck the life out of you. If you want to identify who is a battery charger and who is a battery drainer, simply ask, "How are you today?" and watch their words and body language. Takeaway number 5. Tell yourself the right story. Since you're watching this video, the odds are that making more money, starting your own business, or finding work you love are the main things you want to achieve. So stop for a moment and ask yourself why these things you desire have not happened yet. You might respond that the economy is bad, your boss is bad, your partner is unsupportive, you don't have the education and time, you don't have the capital, or you have bad health. Your answers to this question are your stories. Your story is where you live, emotionally, mentally, and sometimes even physically. Your story is like a fire. If you use it right, it will cook your food and heat your home. But if you don't, it will burn you and your home. Our inner villain tells us the stories that hold us back. He does so by telling us stories again and again until we feel like they are facts. Your emotions, your thoughts, and your story are your life. And the most scary part is that sometimes the stories we tell ourselves are not even ours. For example, there's a chance that your dead grandfather's story is ruling your life and you're not even aware of it. It sounds creepy, but let me explain. If your grandfather lived during economic depression, he probably learned how to be frugal with his money and not to take risks at all and save as much as he could. When your father was born, he passed his stories about money, saving, and risk to your father. And your father passed them on to you. You probably have certain opinions about taking risk and money, and you might believe they are yours. But there is a high chance that they are not. You might have been living in a story that's not even yours. Either the stories you tell yourself are yours or not. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you believe in them and they are hurting you. For example, maybe for years you've told yourself that you are a shy person, and now you've just accepted it as fact. Just pause for a moment and look back and see how much this story has cost you. Maybe there was a girl you wanted to approach, but this belief impacted your confidence that you never talked to her, and now every time when you remember her, the feeling of regret is so strong that you hate yourself for at least not talking to her. Or maybe there was an important meeting and you had a great idea to share, but you didn't dare speak it in front of people, and as a result, you lost recognition from your peers and boss. Now, I want you to imagine 5 years have passed and you haven't changed any of those limiting stories. Can you see how much it's going to cost you? Probably even thinking about it is painful, but don't do anything and sit there for a few seconds with that painful feeling. Feel the pain. If you feel the pain, you might be willing to take some action. So, here's a small action item for you. First, write down your biggest goals and ask why you have not achieved them yet. For example, you might want to start a business, but you think that you didn't go to university and that's why you're not qualified to do it. So ask yourself, is there anybody who has no degree and already achieved what I want to achieve? You'll probably find many people. Let me give you another example. There was a nice story in one of Brian Tracy's books that I think is a good example for getting rid of your stories. Brian says one day he was speaking on the stage about the possibility of doubling your income and how it is in your hands to do it. After the speech, one guy from the audience approached and said that Brian was speaking nice things, but in his company there was no way that he could double his income. The man explained that whenever he wants a salary increase, they always complain that there's no budget and the company is facing big problems. Brian asked him if he knew anyone in his department who was earning 2 times more than he did, and the guy responded that yes, he knew. Then Brian explained that his company is willing to pay 2 times more. It's just that he didn't want to develop the skills required to raise to that level. The man didn't say anything and simply left. You see, this man's story convinced him that doubling his income was impossible. But in reality, he just didn't want to learn new things and raise his standards. To finalize this video, we talked about 5 lessons. These are knowing what you want and know where you're going. Knowing where you are and what your starting point is. We also talked about the importance of identifying your true why and why you should always feed the right wolf. Finally, we discussed how to change the limiting stories that you tell yourself. Hope it was a useful video. Thanks for watching.